So, Dayton, we meet once again to discuss the progress of the West Indies women and the series that is 1-1. Of course, we had that unfortunate situation in the opening game, which West Indies was well poised to win. The weather had its way, and it's been pretty tough since then. They're able to win the second game by virtue of the super over, but then totally outplayed in game number 3. What are your thoughts, Dayton? Welcome once again.
Well, thank you, Philip, and good night to all the viewers. I am actually in a very good mood, Philip. I'm still seeing things in South Africa that I like. Sometimes you got to sacrifice winning for other things. And for too long, West Indies cricket has not been showing that they are working towards the future. Today, we were soundly beaten, but I saw a number of things that said to me that this team working with these women are preparing for the World Cup, and they're trying to find out what are the best combinations, what is their best options in bowling, batting, and I'll talk about it a little more later, but this is 2 games now that Deandra Dotting, on whom most of the batting has rested recently, has not got a big score, and we've still done reasonably well. And I think that's important for the rest of the team to understand that they have a role to play. For other teams to understand that if you get Deandra out, the West Indies are not finished. And thirdly, to build the confidence of the rest of the team. So I'll break those down as we go on, but some good things to talk about.
Well, keep going, really, because you probably would have surprised quite a few fans by saying that you're pretty well. First of all, if you want to start with the positives, the game that ended in the super over. Now, for my part, I can tell you what I liked about that, and that is the fact that the top order didn't really get going. You know, where you normally get the runs from Deandra, Taylor, and Matthews and so on. And there was that fight, that consistency down the line. That impressed me. So that the outcome was pleasing. What was even more pleasing than the outcome, if that's possible, was the fact that there was fight all the way down. Yes, 1 or 2 players having done the hard work, they've given it away. But this is a game called cricket, and we know what pressure can do. But we also know that this is also a side that is often folded when the big guns have failed.
Yeah. But this is the point I was trying to make earlier. The fight in the lower order was really good. Henry did a good job. I'm so happy to see that very late in her career, Nation is becoming a better player, more dependable. And she really shouldered the responsibility well, as did Henry, as did Shakira Selman. Now, they've not had to play a lot of match-winning innings in the past. And so I'm not completely surprised that they faltered a bit on the final stretch. And that's unfamiliarity. That's all it is. And this is what is called experience. The opportunity to try and take the team home. They'll be able to go inside, reflect, sit with the batting coach and work out how they could have done things a little differently. But it was really good that they got us to the point where we were level. And here's the part that I really want to talk about, Philip. It's something that we don't get the chance to use too often in West Indies cricket recently. In that super over, everyone saw how beautifully Deandra and Haley struck the ball, and they were impressed by that. What people may not have noticed is how they completely outthought the South Africans. Now, it was clear. Now, we're talking here about Ishmael, who's probably the quickest bowler in the world. And she came with a clear plan of how she wanted to bowl. And the field setting gave Deandra a clue as to where she was going to bowl. She clearly wanted to bowl full outside the off stump. First ball, Deandra steps outside the off stump and hits it over the mid wicket. Clearly, the bowler might make an adjustment. So next ball, she plays the scoop. Now the bowler is confused. Should she stick with her plan or should she not? Deandra stands her ground in the next ball and hits the ball over the offside. This is thinking. I've not seen that in West Indies cricket for so long. And
sure, do you mean women's cricket?
Well, no, in West Indies cricket. I'm sorry to say, throughout our cricket, too often our batters have basically failed to think through these situations. I have to say, in recent T20 cricket, I'm seeing an improvement in that area also in the men. But we're talking about the women today. And throughout that over, it left Sar unsure of whether to stick to her original plan or change the plan mid-stride. Now, after Deandra played those 5 beautiful balls, It left Haley with one ball. What does she do? She charges down the wicket. Ishmael does the right thing and pulls the length back short. And she plays a tremendous flat batted shot for 6. This is West Indies at its best. If we can continue along that way, there's a real winning future for the West Indies. So all in all, in the first game, I think the most important thing there, as you said, is that we learned to win without a big contribution from Deandra up front, even though she made a very big contribution in the super over.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good to see. Here's something else that was good to see today. You will recall on our last program, I told you Kaisia Knight and her sister both struggle because they tend to have a trigger movement that sets them up on their leg stump, and when the ball is outside the off stump, they reach for it with their hands, and it leaves them vulnerable to edging the ball into the slips and scooping the ball into the covers. As soon as she came to the wicket today, it was so obvious to me, and it was good to see that Kaisia Knight's trigger movement was taking her onto the off stump, bringing her much closer to the ball. And lo and behold, a half century, which is only her second in more than 10 years of international cricket. But the point is, we are seeing things happening that says our batters are thinking about what they're doing. They're making adjustments. They're planning innings. Very good to see. I was really happy for Kaisia today. There were still a few balls that were away from her as she reached for them. In fact, she was dropped in the covers, extra cover at one point. Difficult catch. But all in all, she played a really good innings. And here's the advantage. Apart from getting closer to the ball, so the off stump, setting up herself on the off stump, she played 2 beautiful strokes off the hip through the leg side for 4. And that opened up simply because she was started from a different position. So good to see she's made that adjustment and she batted beautifully today. I'm very happy for her.
Throughout the period of time where we were concerned about the batting and the number of times that they're not even able to reach 200, the bowlers actually kept the side competitive, even if not victorious as often as we would have liked. What went wrong in One Day International number 3? A score of what, 299?
Well, I was talking to someone about this today, and a couple of things went wrong, but again, there was some positive in it. Here's what went wrong first. We started with Shamelia Connell. Shamelia Connell's difficulty throughout her career has always been inconsistency in line and length. Recently, she's been brilliant. In the first 2 games, her lines and lengths were immaculate. Today, and remember, I'm seeing this in the context of preparation for the World Cup. The West Indies are trying different things. And they did something today, which I'm not sure many people noticed, but they started without a fine leg on the boundary. They had a short fine leg, forcing Shamelia to bowl outside the off stump. I think knowing that she couldn't bowl straight really put her off. And she completely lost her line. She started bowling too wide, then she overcorrected and bowled on the leg stump. And for the first 2 overs, she was completely rattled. She had completely lost that control that was so beautiful to watch in the first 2 games. Nothing wrong with that. They were trying something new, and I think that is right. Figure out what are your best bowling options going into the World Cup. Not just in terms of who's bowling, but to what kind of fields and where they're going to bowl, etc. And clearly, she had a difficulty adjusting to the idea of bowling without a deep fine leg. And I don't think they should do it again. So I think the learning there is don't do that again, because she was very good before today. Here's one of the beautiful things I saw. After a terrible second over in which she was struck all over the place, she came back in her 3rd over. First ball, wonderful line, wonderful length wicket. It was good to see her come back. And in fact, for the rest of her spell, then she got better and better and better. And at the end, she ended up with 3 wickets, and well done to her. But
I think she got 4 for 54 in the end from 10
overs,
which was really outstanding considering the start she had that you described.
Exactly. So I have no problem with that in the context of them preparing for the World Cup and finding out different ways to approach this thing. Chanel Henry was good again today, but again, they tried something new. They opened the bowling with her. And I think they made a little bit of an error. Well, error might be the wrong word. Again, I think they were experimenting. And they bowled her a very long spell. And then they brought Shakira Salma and bowled her a long spell also. I think they would have been more effective when that long, really good partnership that South Africa was going to break it up some more. I think the batsmen got very comfortable facing the same bowler over and over. And the batsmen did a great job in working out where to find ones. They were finding singles at will. And I think going into the World Cup, it might suit them better instead of giving Chanel Henry, let's say 6 or 7 overs up front as they did, maybe 5 come back in the middle and 2 more and 3 more at the end, just so that in the situations like this where batsmen get stuck, it gives you different bowling options in the middle. Remember, our spinning options in this game were all off spinners. And therefore, if you rely on the spinners through the middle, you're bowling the same type of bowler from both ends for long periods, which is why I think you should break up the seamers a little more so you can disperse them, give the off spinners 3 overs from one end, 4 overs from the other end, just so that the batsmen are not seeing the same thing every ball.
What about the option of bringing Fletcher back into the side?
Well, I'm coming to that. Before I get to Fletcher, I want to say this. It's amazing. Stephanie Taylor was injured last year.
Yeah.
And when she came back, she was struggling with her bowling. I mean, she tried in a match, 2 matches actually, and both times she was really, really off. She hasn't bowled since then, and I thought she was gone away and worked on it. In fact, I'm reliably told that she has been next working on it, but she came back today and there's been no improvement. She's really, I know something has gone wrong with her shoulder. She's had some kind of injury that has damaged her, but she really, really struggles now to get the ball on any kind of length, And she really, on those performances I've seen, she should not bowl in the World Cup at all.
Mm-hmm.
So that removes one of your off-spinning options. And we have Afi Fletcher and we have Kiana Joseph. So you got 2 options with bowlers turning the ball away from the right-hander. And I'm a little surprised that we haven't played either of them so far in the series. Now, I know Afi Fletcher has been off for a long time. She went on maternity leave.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what she's bowling like at this moment. But surely the time to see is now in this series preparing for the World Cup. So in the last game, I would not be surprised if I saw her or Kiana or both, just to give them that little bit of confidence going into the World Cup, bringing their arm over, getting used to putting the ball on the length, etc., etc., etc. So all in all, I'm seeing a team that's preparing. We didn't bowl as well today as we did. At the beginning, I almost got the impression that we had a little bit of a hangover from those 2 really good matches we played before. You know that happens. Sometimes you get a little comfortable and say, oh, we're playing well.
Yes.
And then you relax. And in fact, I'm not only talking about the bowling. We were not good in the field for the first probably maybe 12, 15 hours. We were not good in the field at all. I had been asking for a long time why Williams was wicketkeeping when Campbell is our best wicketkeeper. And I think I understand why now, because having brought Williams out, she was really bad in the field today. And I think they were letting her keep wicket so that she wouldn't have to be in the outfield. Today, she made 2 really, really bad errors on ball that cost boundaries. And I think there's some work to do there. As I said, this team is improving all the time. I'm hoping that they're working on all areas of the game, including things like that. But clearly, Shadow Williams need to do some work on the fielding. So that's one of the things I think that this series has shown that needs some work going to the World Cup. And after all, what's the series for? To figure out what you need to do. And we need to get better in the field as we were in the last game and the one before that. I have to say we were brilliant in the last game. So today was an off day, but it's one of those days when everything worked for South Africa. It really went well. And a word on South Africa, having been outplayed completely in the first game, beaten in the second game, I think they deserve a lot of kudos for their approach in the batting. First of all, they were brave enough to bat first. Secondly, they were very clear in their minds on what they wanted to do in terms of building a foundation, and they did a fantastic job. Played very, very strict cricket. We bowled too short most of the time, and they recognize that. They got on the back foot, played the ball through the gaps, and get running 1s and 2s. In fact, the young lady who made a century ran 53 singles over that. That tells you how she kept the scoreboard ticking over all the time. I have to say something on this because that big partnership between her and Luce. Luce hardly scored a run between mid-off and mid-wicket. Most of her runs were scored square of the wicket and behind the wicket. She played the short ball really well. Even when the ball was close to the off stump, she was making runs. She was cutting very well. And it took us too long to work out that when you pitched the ball to her, she was not really doing a lot with it. So I think we went sleep there a little bit. We need to go away and do work on that and realize that she likes the ball wide loose, off stump, so she can cut, and outside the leg so she can turn it behind square. And if you bowl straight and full at her, it will force her to do something different. So we have some homework to do there. I think today gave us a lot of things that we need to go away and sort out and work on and come back. But the way that this team has been playing, the way they've been correcting the things they've been doing, I have great confidence that when they come back next game, that they will have made some adjustments again. So I'm hopeful.
And they'll be back without the captain, Stephanie Taylor.
We are really sad. She got a crunching blow on the helmet today, and I saw that, and it didn't look good at all. She actually batted for another ball, or it might have been two, but then she was at the non-striker's end, and she ran a single, and she was up there. She seemed to have been a little bit dizzy or something, and she called the physio. She didn't even ask for treatment. She went straight off the field, holding her head. You could see that she was very discomforted. Now, I'm hoping with this, I have not heard an official report. I'm hoping it is a simple concussion where you go through the concussion protocol and that she'll be all right. I mean, she was struck on the helmet and not on the head. So that's one positive. And hopefully it's nothing more than a concussion and that she will go through the normal protocol and be ready to play again.
Normally I would ask you your thoughts if West Indies can, get up to win the series. But given all that we've talked about really and truly, while that would be a desirable outcome, it is not necessarily the most important aspect of the cricket at this point in time.
No, it's not. But I have to say, I've seen some desire in this team again, and I would not be surprised if they win. Now, remember, this team relies heavily on the DeAndre Dottin. So if you had a scenario in the next game where DeAndre Dottin got away to a good start and got even a half century, not even 100, but a half century at a good rapid rate, even if they're batting without Stephanie Taylor, and I would give them some hope of winning that game, a very good chance. The only other thing that would bother me in that game would be Shadeen Nation also went off injured today, and she did not come back to bat. As I said, recently she's been batting so much better, and she's been playing a really good part in keeping the scoreboard ticking over. She's been scoring at a good rate. So it would be a blow if she did not play the next game, given that Stephanie Taylor is unlikely to play. So if she's available, I think we have a reasonable chance of winning that game.
Okay, Deighton. Well, thanks for your insight. Enjoyable as usual and very informative. So we look forward to the remainder of the series. And here's wishing all the best to the girls in South Africa.
I join you in those wishes.